Do you
No,
hear me?
sorry.
Do you hear me all right?
Yeah, no worries. So, I haven't
Cool.
really said anything yet or introduced anything, but thank you so much for joining.
Of course.
That, as some of the people following might know, we know a bit. But yeah, very interesting to chat and for people to have the opportunity to ask questions. So I think maybe introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself afterwards as well, and then we can go on from there.
Cool. I'll just try not to interrupt you because the sound is might be confusing. But so my name is Anna, and I'm 26 years old. I live here in Copenhagen with my twin brother, and I'm donor conceived. And I do have two moms and no dad. So that's the brief introduction. I have a boyfriend as well, if anyone cares.
And my name's Emma. I live in Aarhus, and I'm 25 and also donor conceived, but I have both a mom and a dad. And I have two younger sisters who are not donor conceived, so they are my dad's biological children.
Yeah.
And boyfriend who I live with. So yeah, very brief introductions about the two of us. And I think we'll just start with the questions that I've received before, and then we can see if there's any questions from people watching live here.
Yeah.
So we've had a question about when did you find out that you were donor conceived? So maybe you can answer that first.
Yeah. Sorry, I can just start off. That is easy for me to answer because I have two moms, so it wasn't a shock for me to find out I was donor conceived. Therefore, my mom's has already been quite, how do you say, transparent about it. They told me from the beginning. I've always been told that right from the beginning I laid on my mom when I was born. She was like, "This is me and your mom." So it's from the beginning. How
Yeah.
about you?
Um, I've, as you, known all of my life, I guess. So my parents have all also just shared from when I was too young to even understand. And then I've just understood eventually, even though, um, yeah, we couldn't see, or we didn't have any different situations in the family that made me forced to understand how things were. But
Mm,
they to share it as much as they could, I guess, with me. And yeah, I think that was great for me.
yeah.
Very positive.
You, sorry, I'll just have a quick answer for that. Do you remember when I know you had some sort of book? Do you remember the first time your parents gave you that book?
No, because I've been 2 or 3 years old or something like that, so I have no memory of it. No.
Okay.
Um. Okay. Then someone says, have how to support a child who is questioning their identity. That's a very, very hard question, I guess.
Yeah. Should I start?
Adult.
So I think like the obvious question is that every child would question their identity at some point in life. So I don't think this is a question only for like donor conceived children. This is something for every parent that you have to be supportive for your children. But of course, I can understand that when you have a situation like ours, it can be different. I don't really recall that it has been different for me. Like my parents has always been supportive. So I think like every parent should be supportive in some way and be open. So if I would have a question about my story, then my parents should just answer like, yeah, that would be my answer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I completely agree. Yeah, I I don't know what else to say actually because I agree. Yeah. Okay, so someone asked, um, any advice for parents to both genetic and donor conceived children? I think this is quite similar to, or can be part of what we talked about before. So, my advice for parents in general, I would actually say, is to be open and honest with your child. And especially for donor conceived people, I think it's very important. Um, and that's also what we've both experienced, that our parents was just honest with the situation and how things um, had to be done for us families. And yeah, I think that's just the best way and gives the best connection between parent and child.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I would like to add that never ever hide the story. I think we have both read stories or heard stories about children finding out, maybe as a child or later in their adulthood, that they've been donor conceived. And I think people just finding out when they're adults would be mostly kind of sad and feel like they have been not been told the truth and it has been a lie or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's so sad because just telling the story from the start would, I don't see like how that could be sad. It's like a positive story, no matter what, if it's two moms or a dad and a mom.
I completely agree. Yeah. So someone's asked here in the live chat, do you have an open or anonymous donor, and what would you prefer?
Okay, so for both of us, we have anonymous donors, and we have that because that was the only option back then. Actually, it's illegal for us to go search for a donor, or it's not like it wasn't legal at the point we came to the world. So they are both anonymous, and I would actually prefer it this way, to be honest.
And I feel the same. I feel like it's a door that is closed, a thing that I do not have to pay a lot of attention to or think a lot about because it's not an option. And I think that has been a big relief to also growing up because, yeah, it just hasn't been something that I had to think a lot about. And same person is asking if we think it's a good idea to become a donor, if we should advise men.
Yeah, I think we think that. I think that at least if you want to help others out, I think yes, absolutely, it's a good idea. But I think you have to just really think about all the situations because today it might be a little more confusing compared to back then because when our donors decided to be a donor, they could not make it not anonymous. So today, donors have to think a lot more about how do I want to do this? Should the child be able to contact me when they're 18 years old or stuff like that? So I think if you have made your mind up and know what it contains, then yes, that's a good idea.
And I, of course, agree. So I think, as you said as well, that there are a lot of thoughts to be thought before you go into that process. But I think if you feel like it's the right thing for you, I think it's a very big gift that you give other people. Yeah, to the opportunity to become a family. I think it's a big thing. I'm just looking if there are any other questions. Do you have a relationship with your sperm donor? Someone's asking.
No, I don't, and I know you don't. It's the same answer. It was illegal at that point. That doesn't mean that we cannot search for our donor. I know Facebook has some Facebook sites where you can just look up, and you can look for both donor and siblings and stuff like that. I haven't used that myself, and also you can use like technology to go search for a DNA if you take a DNA test. And sometimes I feel like that's an exciting thing, but I wouldn't do it. I don't want the answer, so no.
Agreed. Yeah. Also anonymous donor, and I haven't looked at anything. Not even have siblings. I think I feel like I have enough in my family, and I can't really see how it would benefit my life, I guess. So I can only see that if things don't play out as you would hope, that I could get disappointed. So I don't really see any reason.
Yeah, and also you don't know if you find your donor, you don't know how the person would react, and siblings as well. I feel like I have a twin brother and we have an amazing relationship. So if I found like two or three half siblings and they wanted like a near bond, I'm not sure I can give them that. So I think you have to like make up your mind. What if I actually find my donor or siblings and I cannot give what they want or searching for?
Mm, I agree, yeah. Okay, so someone has asked, how do you feel about having a sibling? Do you think it's important or not really? I'm a solo mother by choice, and I don't know if I should have a sibling for my daughter or not.
Okay, so I think it's important to have a sibling. I think that if you're a donor or not, I've been so grateful to have my twin brother. I think that if we needed the support, we would get that from each other. But I don't think we have ever gone through any rough periods or anything like that. But I'm really grateful for having someone to share like my whole life with. And yeah, so I would definitely recommend getting a sibling as well if that's possible in her situation.
Hmm. And I feel the same. I have two younger sisters, and we've also been very close. And I think that also plays a big part in why I don't have any wish to seek out half siblings. Because if I had been a lonely child, I think I would. But because I do have siblings, it hasn't really been something I wanted to. So yeah, I would definitely also recommend siblings, um, because I just think it contributes to a lot for the child.
Yeah.
And another one is asking if one being donor conceived and one not being donor conceived has reflected on our relationship. So that is mostly for me, because you and your brother are both donor conceived, and our situation is a bit different, as my sisters are made through the ICSI method, and thereby they're my dad's biological children. But I don't really feel that it had any impact um, on our relationship, and it hasn't had any impact really on how I was treated in the family or anything, because that's also been a question I've received, if
Mm.
I did it differently than the twins, because I was donor conceived, and that hasn't been the case at all, and I haven't felt like that at any point. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Someone is saying that why do some donor conceived people call egg donors biological mother? A donor is a donor, not a mother. I don't know what to say about that. I think that is very, that differs from person to person, and I think it's very individual, and I think it should be up to the donor conceived individual what they want to call it, actually.
Mm.
And there's also a question, do you prefer to say donor, or do you call your donor your biological father?
So I prefer to say donor. I think I might have said father sometimes, but that is not something I'm used to saying. So if I have to explain someone, it would be my donor, because for me, father and mother is like a title, and I like to think of it like a title you have to earn at some point. So a father or a mother can be someone who is related to you, but it doesn't have to. So if someone have been taking care of me all my life, I would consider them a parent for me. So yeah, I have two moms, even though obviously only the one of them is my biological mom and no dad.
Mm. And I completely agree. I also always call him, because I think it's giving way too much credit to call him a father or dad. So I have a dad, and he's the one that's been part of my life for 25 years, and would support me at any time through anything. And that is how you earn that title, in my opinion, as well. So
Yeah.
I would also say donor anytime. Mm, okay, someone says, I have a DC daughter and I'm wondering how she feels in the future without any siblings. Quite similar to what we have talked about already. Um, and then there are a lot of, there's a very long question here.
I can just meanwhile add on. So the person having a DC child without any siblings, well, the person might at some point get a boyfriend or girlfriend and have more kids. And then for me, I would say that would be siblings as well. So if they get like half siblings at some point in life, that would be just as great. And also, I know people not having any siblings doing just fine. So I don't think like it should work out just fine as well.
Mm. I agree. I'm just scrolling through the chat to see if there's any questions, and if any of you out there have any questions, please just feel free to ask them in the chat and I'll have a look. Right now, I think we've had the ones that are here. Then there's just a couple of comments of people saying thank you for sharing, and I would also like to say thank you so much for doing this live with me, Anna. I'm very grateful. It's always great to have someone else and hear other aspects of donor conception, and hearing, yeah, your perspective, and from another family constellation, what would you call that?
Right.
Than my own. So I think that it helps a lot of people out there as well.
Yeah, I'm just happy that you want to talk to me as well and share our story, because I know that both of us are pretty positive about our stories, and I feel like when you're watching television or reading the news or stuff like that, and the subject is donor conceived children, it is mostly negative stories. Not always, but mostly. So
I,
I'm just happy to share it.
Me too. And I think it is really, really important that I think it's important that everyone shares their story. I think it's important to hear the sad stories and the ones who feel um, like it has had a negative impact on their life. But I also feel like it's very important for us who feel like we've had a very normal life and are very happy about the donor conception to speak up as well. So I'm so, so thankful for you sharing your story, and I hope that I'll have you doing other stuff in the future as well.
I hope
Uh,
so too.
and yeah, other than that, I think that's it for now, maybe. And thank you so much for participating, and I'll see you hopefully soon.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining, and yeah, let us know if you have any questions, and then we'll try to answer them in either in the chat or on my last post where Anna is also tagged.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Cool. Bye.